Mahindra, HDFC, State Bank of India, PNB, Bank of Baroda. Just about every housing finance company and bank is fighting for your home loan business this festival season with slashed rates never seen before. Now, if you're thinking of taking the plunge and buying a property and taking a home loan, here's an easy reckoner to watch on how you can make your home loans cheaper by taking every tax break that is available. We will have Mukul Bagla, Chartered Accountant and Chairman of Direct Tax Committee of the PhD Chamber of Commerce to answer your questions. Mukul, thank you so much for joining us. But just as a stage setter for our audience, we are going to make it simpler and break this down under four heads. One is the Section 24B, which allows for a deduction of the interest portion of the EMI. We'll also ask Mukul to explain to us Section 80C of the income tax, which allows for a deduction of the principal amount you pay on your home loan. Then there is also a difference between what you pay or what deduction that you get in a pre-EMI, which is for an under construction flat, and an EMI which you will pay when the construction is completed of your flat. And finally, if you're a first-time home buyer, what is the tax break that you can expect on your home loan under the government CLSS or credit-linked subsidy scheme? So, four headers, and Mukul's here to explain them to us. Mukul, let's start with the bigger one, which is Section 24B.
Thanks for having me. The government wants to promote the housing sector and wants to give the break to the house buyer also. So Section 24B was introduced, which allows deduction to the flat buyer or the home buyer on the amount of he pays on the loan taken by him for the purchase of the property. So the loan can be from any person. It need not be from a bank or from a housing finance company only. It can be from a private entity also. The amount of deduction he can claim is to the maximum of rupees 2 lakhs in his income tax return. If the property is used by him for his own purpose, or in case he is not able to reside in the same property because of the fact that he works elsewhere, then also the same deduction of rupees 2 lakhs is available to him. In case the property which he buys out of the loan amount, he can get the deduction for the entire interest paid. So there's no ceiling of rupees 2 lakhs in case he buys the property and then gives it on rent. So these are the basic deductions which are allowed under Section 24B. Another thing is that this deduction for rupees 2 lakhs is allowable per person. So if the property is co-owned by him along with his wife or some other co-owner also, then also each person is individually allowed the deduction of rupees 1.5 lakhs or rather 2 lakhs.
Mukul, thanks. That was very clear on how you can adjust the interest part, which is 2 lakh every year of the EMI in your home loan. There is a difference in this alignment or tax deduction if you're paying a pre-EMI, which is for an under construction flat, versus a fully constructed flat, isn't it? Can you clarify that?
Yeah, so therefore there's no deduction available under Section 24B till the flat or the property is not fully constructed. So your deduction actually starts only from the time when your property has been constructed and has been started to be utilized by you. So the deduction for the period prior to the period when the property was not constructed has to be accumulated. So for example, if the construction of the property was completed in financial year 2021, then the entire interest that has been paid till 31st March 2020 will be aggregated and then broken up into 5 equal installments. You will get the deduction for the first installment in financial year 2021, and the balance 4 installments you will get deduction from financial year 21-22 onwards.
All right.
I hope that clarifies the situation.
What about Section 80C? There is an additional amount of 1.5 lakhs also which can give you a tax break, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a deduction under Section 80C for the amount of principal repayment that you do in a year. That is subject to the overall limit of 1.5 lakhs, which of course includes your life insurance premiums and school fees and other deductions. So all together is 1.5 lakhs, which also includes repayment of principal of the housing loan. The principal of housing loan should be paid to the central government or a bank or a housing finance company. It cannot be to any other entity. It only can be to these entities. Only the principal component can be allowed as a deduction under Section 80C.
Finally, if you're a first-time home buyer, the government wants to encourage people to come and buy their first homes. And if you are in the affordable and mid-income category, you actually can also get a credit-linked subsidy scheme on your home loan. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so the government wants to encourage people to buy their first houses. They don't want people to stay on rent for too long. So they have given an incentive to the first-time home buyers under Section 80EE(a) of the Income Tax Act. The amount of deduction is to the maximum of rupees 1.5 lakhs. They have few caveats for claiming this deduction. So the first is that the stamp value of the property should not be more than 45 lakhs. The loan must be taken between 1st April 2019 till 31st March 2021. And on the date of the loan, the assessee should not have any other property or any other house. In this case, the loan has to be from a bank or a housing finance company only. It cannot be taken from anyone else. And we had, as a part of the PhD chamber, we have filed representation before the government also that this period of sanctioning of loan up to 31st March 2021 should be extended so that the benefit of the section can be taken in future also by the new flat owners or the new flat buyers or house buyers.
Mukul, there's also been a clamor that 2 lakhs is actually a very small deduction which is allowed for home loan interest, and the principal amount is also very little of 1.5 lakhs. There has been a demand by the industry to increase this amount, right? But it hasn't happened. Last 3 budgets, 4 budgets, we've been waiting for it, but nothing's changed. Do you think that's a valid demand?
The demand is very valid. For the first time in 2001, the government introduced this section with a limit of 75,000 rupees, and they've been gradually lifting this limit from 75 to 1 lakh, from 1 lakh to 150, 150 to 2 lakh in financial year 2015. But today, in today's scenario, you will understand that 2 lakh is not adequate, or for that matter, even ATC deduction of 1.5 lakhs is not very high, keeping in mind today's scenario and the cost of living. So therefore, we have been filing a lot of representations that the amounts of deduction should be increased, but the government has not been very forthcoming on that. In fact, government has been trying to have a policy wherein they are reducing deduction and exemption and trying to reduce the tax rate. So if that's a policy, then we are suffering on these accounts.
Well, let's hope that somebody is hearing from the government on what the industry wants and home buyers want. Mukul Bagla, thank you very much for joining us and giving us that explainer. Well, a lot of you are filing your tax returns yourself, and if you have a home loan, this is a good reckoner to keep handy to see that you've actually claimed every tax deduction possible under your home loan. That's it from us. See you next week.